I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to our December meeting. Special orders of business. First was supposed to be Dr. Flieger, but I see he is not here.
Ben always likes to do.
Ben, you can have at it.
And what they have in their packet is the industrial pre-treatment in general.
Do they also have the?
Well, that just came this afternoon, so I'm gonna give it to him. Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's really well.
Take one down and pass it, please.
So, and what Marilyn's passing out, just for everybody's information, when we did the Wayne Street Improvements Project and then we did the water main work, we got $1 million in loan monies to do the replacement of the water main along the road. So with all the changes and everything we did along the way, less engineering, when we completed the project, there was still approximately $174,000 left to spend. And so generally what I usually try to do is come up with some stuff that the town wants to do, and then we have to write this amendment to, and this was a weird one too, because we fell back on the PER that we used when we actually did the tank project back in 2020, 21, 22.
Two.
So we were basically modifying the report that we wrote, I think, in 2020, but anyhow. Anyway, we're required to go through some different options, and they want to see some alternatives and, you know, what we want to do. But generally speaking, and I said the same thing to Dustin, they'll allow you guys to do pretty much anything that's semi-water related that's eligible for funding. So if you take a gander real quick, and I won't read through all this, but there was a high service pump out at the water treatment facility that Dustin wanted to have rehab. There was also, I thought that was that well pump number one?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, this is written wrong. I'll get that changed. There was also an overhaul that Dustin also wanted to do to well pump number one. So the first two things that are listed on sort of page 2 at the top is the Peerless work on the high service pump from the actual water treatment facility, and then also the overhaul of well pump number 1, which says high service pump number 1, but I'll get that changed. But those costs were $39,400 and then $37,045 respectively. Again, those two items are going to be rubber stamped and approved, no big deal. So, and I even said to Dustin too that if he got the work done on the one, it was no big deal. And you can even pay for that work and you can be reimbursed for it. So it doesn't matter. But this formal approval has to happen before you can spend any of the remaining money. So then in addition to that, we had also talked at one time, or in fact we even did it when we did the original tank project, about repainting the exterior of the 11th Street tank. So we just thought we would get new quotes for it. And as you can see, McGuire Iron was significantly cheaper than this other outfit that gave us a number. And McGuire happened to be the ones that did the actual project, so they were probably pretty familiar with the tank. That's why I think we got a good number. Again, we don't have to do any of those. We don't have to do any of this stuff. It's just stuff that I'm going to try to get approved so that you can cherry pick what you want to do with the remaining funds. And then last but not least, we had discussed since summer the replacement, or at least the upgrading of the water main at the very south end of Nancy Street. And there's a sewer there too that we want to stick a manhole on so they have access to it. So we put together a little set of plans, sent it out. We sent it out to 10 contractors to quote. I could only get 2 guys to actually give me a number at the end of the day. But Burcott was actually gave us the best number. And the weird thing about Burcott is the guy that was API's construction manager. So the guy that did the Nancy Street lift station project, he actually left API and bought ERCOT. And so the guy that gave me the number is the guy that did the work there originally. So that's why I think we got a good number there. So again, I want to get you guys to sign this and send it in, and then we'll get this all approved, and then we can either we can pay for the 2 pump overhauls, and then we can also pay for the water and sewer upgrades on South Nancy Street. And then you guys will probably still have a little bit of money left over, but not much. So, or you could conversely do the coating of the tower, or you could do all 4. You just have to spend some of your own money to make up the difference. So those were the 4, I think, most low-hanging fruit that we put together as this addendum. And again, the quotes and whatnot are all in here too. It's all stuff that's been discussed on a number of occasions. So I don't know if there's any questions, or if anybody has any questions about the process with the SRF folks.
Just Nancy Street's the one that we had to fix most recently down by the Civic Center, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And we fixed that a couple of times, correct?
Yeah, and in fact, he was a little concerned that it might break again, so.
Okay.
I was trying to get them moving on this before the end of the year, but it just didn't work out time-wise.
So the public notice, when does that go?
You just, once you guys agree to this addendum and we send it in, you just have to publish it.
It's just one time?
Yep. So, you don't have to have a public hearing or anything like that, it's just a notice.
Oh, it is a public hearing?
It's just a notice.
Well, that's what I
Just a
thought you said we had.
You don't have to have a public hearing.
Right,
Mayor.
it's just a
Sorry.
notice.
You need this in the form of a motion?
Yes.
I will make a motion to
I will second.
move ahead.
You can sign it here, and then I'll put the front page on stationery. So, oh, I'm sorry.
I
Ron.
second.
Second.
Sorry, no, I knew you were busy.
I was involved, let me get back here. So, this isn't even on the agenda. What's that called?
Call it the water SRF amendment.
Water, I'm sorry. And Steve, you moved?
Yeah, I
Ron
made a
seconded.
motion. Ron moved.
Ron moved?
Steve.
I
You
second.
moved,
I
he
moved,
seconded.
he seconded.
Okay, Ron? How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
I'll get this copy, the front page on stationery.
Yeah, totally fine, just send it to me, Marilyn. Now, the second item, or the one item that is actually on the agenda is when the town of Warren had their NPDS discharge permit at the wastewater treatment facility renewed this calendar year. They threw a bunch of additional jargon in the actual permit approval that said, oh, by the way, since we've approved your discharge permit, now we want you to make a bunch of changes to your sewer use ordinance and your emergency response plan. And it was all specifically directed at industrial pretreatment. So there's a number of communities like Warren that have a non-delegated pretreatment program, which only means you have industries in town that you guys don't have anything to do with respect, you treat their sewage, but they go to IDEM to get everything approved and the pretreatment permits issued, the whole 9 yards. So the only thing you guys end up doing is some inspections, but generally everything's handled by the IDEM folks, you know, annually. However, what they found out is that a lot of the ordinances that these communities had that were non-delegated communities, they didn't have the right language in these ordinances to actually address this industrial pretreatment situation. And they wanted to have Warren put some teeth into these ordinances so that the same stuff IDEM was saying to these people, you were saying the same thing. And so there was a lot of, I guess, sort of synergy with respect to what they were saying you guys have in your ordinances. So over the past couple of months, we've had a back and forth with their pretreatment gal down at IDEM, and we've gone through a number of renditions of this, and this is the final one. They're okay with it, IDEM's okay with it, and now it's up to you guys to approve the new SUO, which is the one that says ordinance number 2025-X. And you guys aren't under the gun to approve this tonight, so if you want to sit on this for another month, it's totally fine.
I made it for 26
Yeah.
because this would be the introduction of it.
Yeah, and you can do that. You can introduce it tonight, look through. And I don't know, Marilyn, I sent, what I sent to Marilyn was these ordinances, these clean ones. But it also had Word files in that email, Marilyn, that had all the red lines.
Oh, I didn't see it. I'll look for it.
If you want to send that email out to everybody, just so they can sort of see everything that got changed, it's a lot,
In
trust
the
me.
email it said you would send red line if we asked.
I thought I was needed to, but actually those Word files that are in there,
Oh,
all
okay,
the red lines.
okay.
And
Okay.
I can really sort of very, very briefly here go through some of the changes from the SUO. Basically, the first section in your serious ordinance is 5302. It's abbreviations and definitions. The only thing we did was we updated or added abbreviations and or definitions to be consistent with the MPDS permit. So we added control authority, we added significant industrial user, we added significant non-compliance. We added all these different definitions that weren't in there previously. Under section 5361, we updated the prohibited discharges section, and basically we modified this provision to specify non-domestic wastewater. So, as well as prohibit anything that would interfere with the operation and performance of the wastewater treatment facility. Again, just so we could get consistent with what's in the NPDS permit. We also added some specific prohibitions. Again, they were also added to match the NPDS permit or to match item suggestions that they had on our back and forth. Under section 5362, which is the section under pretreatment and user discharge control facilities, we added one small change where we changed the requirements for when a user must install storage and or flow control facilities. And the only thing we did was we modified it from 30,000 gallons to 25,000 gallons because that's what they wanted to read, 25,000 gallons. Under reporting requirements, section 5363, we changed some time limits for a user to submit information on the nature and characteristics of the wastewater from 5 to 30 days. They thought 5 was super aggressive, so they said 30 days per their guidance. We also changed the notification the notification section of that same section so that the user must notify the town if the nature, quality, or volume of their wastewater is going to significantly change. And I'll give you this cheat sheet there as well. There was another thing under compliance monitoring. We added the statement that the town has legal authority to establish, revise, and enforce local limits. We removed a specific reference to the testing or evaluation reimbursement. And then we basically said that expenses will be reimbursed as needed. So if you guys would incur costs to do tests on samples from these pretreatment facilities, you guys could be reimbursed. We added some language on the service fees sections. We removed some language from the service rates, saying that they would be determined conceivably by a separate ordinance. We changed the wastewater surcharges and in fact increased them on conventional pollutants to statewide averages. So we had updated your use ordinance years ago and we added some local limits. It was all for basically conventional pollutants, BFEs, suspended solids, stuff that you would see at the treatment facility. Saturn Wheel is a metal finisher. They have specific metals limits, but those are established by the EPA and IDEM, so we didn't have to do anything there.
Well, they have their own pre-treatment
Yeah,
out there
correct.
too.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we changed some administrative enforcement remedies. And basically we changed all the enforcement actions to be in line with the NPDS permit requirements and or IDEM guidance. So all these things have to do with how you guys would act if one of your pretreatment users, which right now is only Saturn Wheel. It will be Everfresh when they get up and running, but it would be what we would have to do if they were, discharging something we didn't want or we had to do something. It all has to do with notifications and then things we would say to them to stop them from doing what they do. So a bunch of stuff that we had to do just because items said we had to do it. The ERP, so we also have a enforcement response plan for the industrial pretreatment users. We changed section 4 regarding the personnel responsibilities. Basically, we said if there's any emergency suspension or referrals, that EPA or the state would require notification of council. We changed the description of enforcement actions to match what's in the SUO. And then we added some definitions of violations. And then again, we updated section 9, which is the enforcement response guide table. And again, we modified the range of responses based on items. So, huge mouthful there. And again, if you can see the red line renditions of these two ordinances and or guides, you would be shocked. So, but again, this is all in line with what item wanted you guys to do with respect to the new NPDES permit. So again, you could introduce the new SUO, which is the one that says the ordinance on it, and then you could table the ERP for consideration at your next meeting or whatever.
But this doesn't take an ordinance, I mean, they just,
This one doesn't take an ordinance. This is sort of like a guide to the staff if they would have to do anything, if something were to happen that would upset operations at the wastewater treatment facility. If that makes sense.
any motion on that, or do you wanna consider it?
Can you just do it when we do this one?
Well,
Is that what he's saying?
Oh, you wanna do
You're
it when the
saying-
ordinance is done?
You're saying to table this one?
What I'm basically saying is you guys could either adopt
Yeah,
this
this
new
one.
SUO if you want to
Yeah, to,
Okay.
tonight. And then again, you could also agree to the changes to the industrial pretreatment emergency response plan too, if you wanted to. I just don't want to pressure you guys to do it, just because I asked specifically of our regulatory people if you're under the gun to get it done tonight. They said no. You could take 90 days or whatever.
so you could do it all the same night if you wanna,
Okay, let's do it all on,
be easier to
next-
track that way.
yeah. Just kind of a clarifying question. When we do adopt this, we only have one that would apply to, except Everfresh going into that, and they're required to already be updated or they're already following IDEM requirements, so we're not putting them out of compliance in any way by doing
Not in
this.
any way.
Okay.
But right now, Michelle, actually, Everfresh has applied for their own industrial pretreatment permit. And in fact, the last time I talked to them, they think they'll be granted it very soon. And that will allow them to construct them their pretreatment facilities there on site. But anything that they would have been required to do would have been wrapped up in these new IDEM
Okay.
talking points.
This was
Okay.
basically what was used when Golfo had their problem.
Okay.
It's just updated.
I actually think this, again, helps the town get in line with exactly what IDEM's saying, so that you guys will be in lockstep, assuming there would be some violation that either they would find or you would find,
Okay.
so that you guys would be on the same
Be
page.
more hand in glove now with items.
Yeah, correct, Ron. And I think they hired a new person to fit into this role, because it must be becoming a bigger thing with smaller communities. So again, I think they're just trying to get everybody on the same page. So I don't think there's anything in here that you shouldn't want to approve, is what I guess I'm basically trying to say.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
Is that all you have, Ben?
The only other thing I was gonna really briefly mention, you guys were under contract to do a study on the wastewater treatment facility, and we are not quite complete. Just for a brief talking point tonight, the plant's rated at 0.6 MGD, 600,000 gallons of sewage a day. The most, in my mind, sensible expansion would be to go to 900,000 gallons a day. The plant's actually set up for that, to where when it was originally constructed, there's actually common walls that extend beyond the existing footprint of the facility, and so we could add a third aeration basin and some additional final clarifiers. We're still sort of vetting how this is going to look and how IDEM would react to this, just because of the standards have changed in the last, I'll just say 25 years since when the plant was originally designed and built. So there's certain 10 state standards, rules and stuff that they want us to look at, but we're trying to push back on some of it, but also by the same token, if the plant needs to be expanded, I want to expand it in the right way and not have to change out the influent pump station and the screen and just everything. And a lot of these, a lot of this stuff was set up so that the plant could be expanded. And so these things would have the capacity to handle the flows from an expanded treatment facility. So there was a lot of forethought put into it back in the day. It's just some of the standards have changed. I'm sorting through some of that right now, okay? I should be able, I think in another month, to be able to come back and at least go through the preliminaries on this and update you guys appropriately.
Ben, so going from 600 to 900,000, does that solve it for the next 2 years, or does it solve for the next 10 years? What does that solve for?
So when that's a good question, Jeremy. When we looked at the average daily flow, and this is from January 22 through May of 25, you guys were right at about 0.443. And what we did is, since Everfresh is coming, and that's a known fact, we sort of looked at, they were initially going to be around 16,000 to 32,000 gallons a day. But then they also had discussed going up to as much as 80,000 gallons a day. So what we did is we took the worst case scenario, assuming that they would build out and go to the highest number. And so if we went to that, you guys would be at about 0.523 MGD, which would be, under the expanded plant, you'd be at 58.1% of the capacity. So it wouldn't be a huge increase, but it would be enough to probably hold you guys over for maybe another 20 years. So I would be hesitant to go way bigger than that, because I think your dry weather flows in the summer are way less. And so I think, I don't want to have half the plant out of commission half the time just because you don't need it. So again, I think if I'm really gonna, I think if the results of the study say, you know, the plant should be expanded in a couple years, and maybe it should be expanded, you know, maybe relatively soon if Everfresh gets going and really starts hitting you guys with a lot of flow, just because you're going to be pushing up into the 80s and 90s, you know, in terms of the capacity. I just want to make sure we can do it at the 0.9 MGD and it makes sense and it's going to last you guys for the foreseeable future.
The other part of that is, as I think Greg talked to you about, was TIF money will come into here because of Everfresh. So if you do it now, you have the ability to throw TIF money into it, and that could conceivably be $500,000. So that helps now too, to do it now and not wait until the TIF district ends.
Well, the one thing I guess I will say too, just in general, when it's one thing to just look at the flows, but we're also really trying to take a deep dive on the organic loading at the plant. And the original design parameters in my mind were sort of skewed a little low. They were 180 for BOD and suspended solids on average coming into the plant. You guys are actually seeing higher concentrations of organics at the plant, and I really don't know why, other than the fact that you're just seeing higher loading. And I don't know if that's happened organically over time, or, you know, maybe back in when we did it 2002, everything was much lower and it's higher now. And maybe that's just a function too of, you know, energy efficient appliances, and, you know, there's less clear water in the system. You did the separation back then, and maybe the strength of sewage is just, you know, it's higher now. But the only reason I bring this up is the organic capacity of the plant's more compromised now than the hydraulic capacity of the plant. So I think, and I even said this to Dustin when I saw him at the conference a month ago, I think you're going to need to do something regardless, almost irregardless, just because even if you had more hydraulic capacity, you don't have organic capacity. And I think what we're gonna end up getting from Everfresh is gonna eat up whatever's left. So I just think, you know, a project's on the near horizon, one way or the other.
And with the housing out there, that'll also add some stress to it, I'd imagine.
If the housing happens, Jeremy, that would certainly.
Use the word when.
When the housing happens, that would certainly, again, hit the hydraulic capacity as well, yes.
I think it has to be said too that Everfresh built those high usages into what their Oregon plant was or is. So how do we, have they ever said anything about this plant smaller, he said, by a third? It's a third the size of their Oregon plant. So some of those numbers they gave to start with are a little high.
Yeah,
Unless they would build on.
Yeah, I think that's true too, and I specifically pressed them about that just the other day, because I was like, well, you know, you said an X and that was a Y, or what, you know, where are we at? Because they had asked the last time I had talked to them about getting an estimate on sewer and water bills, and they did give us some numbers that, a week ago or so, whenever it was.
That, it was sent to them. Did
Okay.
you get a?
Yeah, I got a
They,
copy.
okay, I say they sent it the next day.
So, but again, I was questioning some of their numbers initially, and they reduced them because
Quite a
they were
bit.
off.
Quite reduced them quite
It
a
was
bit.
like half.
Yeah. From-
But again, they're still going to be a big user, and they're still going to be, you know, a good rate payer. So they're going to be a good customer when they can get up and going.
I think that, I do remember, I should have brought that. I can't remember, $500 and something for water. And they lose 30%, or 30% of the water usage won't go through sewer.
Right.
So, so the sewer was a little less than 500, so around 1,000 a month, I think.
Was it 500 or was it 5,000?
It could have been
I think it was
5,000.
5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah, was it 5,000?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it would have been
I
at
think it was.
16,000, isn't that the last number? There were so many numbers running through that I'm, from 20,000 to
Well,
16,000
and
to,
they were basically saying they want to use a little bit in excess of 10 million gallons of water a year. So I mean, that's a big. They're going to be a big water user. They're going to be less. They're going to be a less big sewer user, but they're still going to be a big sewer user.
just saying, when we talk figures of water, they anticipate only about 60 to 70% will go through sewer,
Okay.
which leads to it having a flow meter on there,
Yeah,
the one that works.
I might add, and just for the council's consumption too, they have asked to start up a little bit and to discharge without pretreatment to the system. We're currently looking at the concentrations of the sewage that they would be sending to us, and I'm on the fence on it. I want them to get started. I would really like them to do some test runs and get their equipment going, but by the same token, I'm leery of them somehow discharging something that's gonna then upset the plant and your guys' ability to treat sewage. So I wanna be the devil's advocate here. I'm very empathetic to wanting them to get going, but also I'm also nervous that what they could begin doing might be bad. So just for the plant, not for Warren.
Have they given you an estimated time?
It's gonna take them, Michelle, several months to get their pretreatment stuff online. And they were originally targeting March, but here we are, it's already, you know, mid-December, so I would think March would be very optimistic.
Yeah, I think,
In my mind.
I think late spring, early summer is what the last I heard.
Yeah, that sounds more realistic to me. But again, they wanted to go real slow and maybe only discharge 3,000 gallons a couple times a week. And I'm half tempted to let them at least try and see what it does, but by the same token, I don't want Dustin yelling at me. Again, I'm trying to do a balancing act here, so I'd like to see them start out though. So anyway, but that's all I've got. Unless there's something else you guys want to query me on.
I have nothing.
I think so.
Nope.
Thanks, man.
Okay, appreciate everybody's time, and
Thank you.
let me know if there's any other questions on that ordinance stuff. 'Cause it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you this too, Mary. This was my, oops. And if you want to send that email out, it'll show them all the changes. If you want to send that email out, I'll show them the changes on those Word files.
What email?
For the ordinance.
Oh, for the ordinance.
This is my cliff notes though, so if you want
Oh,
to send
okay.
that to everybody.
I'll send,
Okay. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben,
I'll see you guys. Get out of here.
Minutes from the October 13th, November 10th executive meeting, November 5th special meeting, and November 17th meeting. You've obviously looked at. Any corrections or additions? Citizens' comment. You don't hear anybody, so we'll move on. Police Department.
Well, you have your monthly report there.
Everything working all right, Dennis?
Austin graduates on Wednesday evening.
Thanks, man.
yes, you too.
Thank you.
what is that, December 17th?
Yeah. He'll be riding with me for probably at least a good month. probably.
Yes, I saw there's been some break-ins recently in some other communities. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, that goes around in waves usually.
Okay. I didn't know if there's something we would do in response to that or just presence. I know you can't be at every car, but
Manpower would be good. That's
Yeah.
something we need to discuss pretty quickly here.
yeah.
Because at this rate, we're gonna be shorthanded again down with me after April.
How many is Markle up to right now?
In February, they'll have a
They have
full-time
four.
officer, plus they have part-time also.
And we have a true one-time and, well, we're gonna have two, but that's where we're at two, and then some part-times that we're at.
We have one guy that works partially for us, part-time, but he also works for Andrews and makes $10 more an hour than Andrews.
Yeah.
So, obviously, if he's gonna make 20 here or 30 over there,
I
we'll
know,
be
I
second
bet.
fiddle.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes on that, and that's probably something we discuss part-time. We haven't raised part-time pay in at least 5 years.
Yeah.
So, that just puts us, even broad- I mean, we were low to begin with 5 years ago, so,
Yeah.
compared to the other communities.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Being close to the highway, I would, yeah. I'm with
but
you.
even still without the highway, to have, the officer presence there deters a lot.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're gonna see it's eroded and there's not much coverage.
I stopped breaking into Ron's car because of you sometimes, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it
I
helps, it
appreciate
helps.
that.
So do I.
Stop it. Stop it.
Okay, Lee couldn't be here, but he submitted his report to you. I hope you have it.
We do.
Okay.
No updates on the new truck? Everything still seems to be.
Still, what was it?
Last time we knew the chassis was in, I got
Chassis's
the
in.
But
picture.
they said, what was it, March? Then the truck would be, it's gonna be a lot earlier
Yeah,
than what they.
I thought it was May, they said.
May, maybe it's
I think they
May.
were saying May.
Yeah.
I was just hoping no
Yeah.
news was good news, so I guess
Yeah,
that's
it
what I
is.
was
Yeah,
Yeah,
asking.
we haven't
whatever.
heard anything bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No news is good news on
We
Yeah,
that.
haven't got any
whatever-
messages saying, hey,
whatever
we
talked about last
we're
time.
behind, so.
It's
There
not-
was a thing on the national news recently about everyone in the nation having trouble getting that stuff now.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Big
good-
time.
Good thing it was ordered when it was.
So,
Yeah.
got
Yes,
in maybe
we really
before
lucked
the
out on that deal.
crunch. Good.
Cool. Utility street manager.
First thing up there at the top of my report is Rex Collins Electric. They did come last Friday and put a quote together that I received late last Friday. The cost to replace that electric panel that controls the street lights here on the 200 block is $1,384. And that includes, this is just a 200 amp panel replacement. Shoot. So I don't have a printout of it because I haven't been in the office, but again, that's $1,384, so I don't know if that's something you guys want to discuss about.
That would be a
upgrading that panel.
maintenance item that can just be approved.
Is that where
Street
those
lights.
street lights here
Issues with the
weren't
street
functioning
lights.
sometimes during the summer
Correct.
festival?
Yep.
'Cause
We've had issues with that
Yeah.
since,
I would say go for it.
It
Agreed.
doesn't really, maintenance doesn't require.
Okay.
But you can, I mean, if you want, just go for it.
I
Go
would,
for
I would say go ahead, Dustin.
Okay.
Yes.
We did have one outage On December 6th, a squirrel got in the power lines in the 500 block between Main and Wayne, and TMD was able to respond to that. You can see the work that they did for the, in relation with the phone company. There was a railroad company, I guess, they were in town and just made a quick repair on the crossing at Nancy Street. I haven't had any talks with them about further improvements. We had a blower go out at the wastewater plant. The motor was sent in to get looked at, and I don't know if I've seen a repair quote for that yet, so keep an eye out for that. We're gonna continue to pick up leaves once the snow gets out of here. I know there's a few piles out there. We'll probably get those, and by the end of December, hopefully we won't see any more piles, but we'll probably plan on packing up the leaf back then. We were out for a couple snow cleanups, the 29th and just this past Saturday. A couple trucks are gonna be needing repair, so we'll be looking for those quotes or just to get those done. Dylan has been taking over the role with the skid steer, cleaning up downtown. Lee's done it for the past 20-some years. He's requesting a blade for the Bobcat so he can better efficiently clean the sidewalks and kind of get in some spaces where maybe he couldn't if he didn't have one. So right there you see 3 prices for a blade. I'm not sure if Bobcat has any left. The last time I spoke to Dylan about it, over a week ago, they had 1 left in stock, so that 84-inch blade from Bobcat was his first choice. And if not, I think the 90-inch would work fine as well, the Boss from Truland. So that's kind of the only other thing I'd like to ask for is a blade for the Bobcat so we can, do a better job of cleaning sidewalks downtown.
That's a purchase, so you'd need a motion
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
that he go in the order that he said.
Yes.
Bobcat first, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And
Okay,
then
hold on.
Yes.
Ron, Jeremy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and
Yes.
And then I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow for my post-op appointment, and then I plan to return to work Wednesday. So
Best wishes, speedy recovery.
I'm getting along all right.
Cool. Unfinished business.
well, as I sent these emails to you, the action you took to place Scott on the town council was not according to state statute. So I did send that to you. I can read it. It says, good morning. Yesterday, this is from Mike Hutberg. My law partner, Adrian Haverstadt, was at the courthouse on unrelated business when the Huntington County Clerk, Shelley Scepter, asked him if our office represented Warren. He said yes, and then she explained concerns she had relating to the recent town council member resignation and the new replacement. She had some of the names jumbled up, but we concluded that she was referring to Mr. Buzzard's resignation and council's selection of a replacement. She explained that she cannot swear in the replacement because she did not receive notice of Mr. Buzzard's resignation prior. And I forwarded this on to you, and it's easy enough taken care of. Steve came in and signed a letter of resignation that was sent the very next day, but you will have to take another motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve Scott as the
Okay.
new ingoing.
A second?
I will second.
Okay. This would be awful to have you here and then not.
Scott,
Ron?
we want you legal, man.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and Steve.
Yes.
Now you're official, and you will need to get with Shelley at the county clerk's office to be sworn in.
Okay,
Just give her a call. You can just walk in and she can do it.
okay.
I can swear at you, but
Before the
Can I
end
ask a
of the
question
year.
here real quick?
Yeah,
Okay, when will that begin?
January 1.
Okay, because I did do some checking myself on when I
Oh,
needed
that's
to be resigned
right.
from the township and everything. And so I'll talk to them again. I just want to make sure they coincide and everything's
Yeah,
done the
that's true.
proper way.
Yeah, yeah,
I checked and I definitely do have to resign from that post.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just, so I will be.
Yeah, it would be for
Just so
that
you know.
too.
Do you have a replacement?
Actually, I do not, but I have somebody who has expressed interest. Had somebody on the board who was interested, and their place of employment said no.
Really?
Because they're not allowed to hold political positions, and being on the board, I guess, was okay, so.
That's about the most unpolitical
Yeah,
position.
I know, but so I did talk to somebody else who is interested, but until they say yes, I'm not gonna throw their name out there, but I think they're going to.
So then,
I can't
so
appoint.
then you would have to advertise to have a person just put on the advisory board,
Yes.
because you'd be
correct.
short not only you as president, but it
Yes.
creates a vacancy. So do you have to advertise?
Yeah, which there'll be they'll hold a caucus, the Republican Party will hold a caucus.
Oh, that's right, you're by party, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
so the Republican Party will take care of most of it, it'll all be done by caucus. Yeah,
Well, hopefully somebody will be interested.
I think they are.
Good. Okay. Salary wage ordinances, this is the night for adoption of those. This is the third meeting these have been considered. So you can handle them all at once or individually, but these are the same ones you saw I started to say last year, but that would be last meeting and the meeting before that.
I will make a motion.
I'll second them.
Okay, moved by Steve, second by Michelle. Ron?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Steve.
Yes.
Stormwater. Well, interesting things with stormwater. Greg had said he'd have a ordinance ready, and they did have an ordinance ready. But then they were at a meeting and discussions, and they have an alternative they want to talk to you about, where it's based on property taxes some way. And I'm not clear enough to talk about it, but so that's on hold until next year, and he'll be giving you more information on that. That's about all he said, really. Software proposals. Well, here we go. You all got this on your email. Geez. And did you get the proposal sheet?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did, yeah.
Okay. I did do some checking on the cost of it. BS&A, the setup is $23,275. For Fry, it's $29,823. And because you've read this, I won't go through it all, but with Fry, we would still have to have a server, and it would have to be a new server. And that would be at a cost of about $5,500. And I'm not whatever to know, but Fry said they require Microsoft Business Premium, and that would cost $1594.29. So there's some additional costs there. BS&A also, and I'm going to run through this real quick. Location is only 45 minutes away, which is major for us. And the Fry people said they are not planning on opening an Indiana office. Hardware, BS&A is cloud-based, and Fry is the server still needed, not cloud-based. They have what they call it's hosted on site, and neither Marcy and I were real clear on that, whether it just feeds into their system. Fixed assets. Right now, we, contrary to what the audit said, we have a very strong fixed asset policy, but it's all on Excel files. And Fry doesn't offer a true Excel or fixed asset file, and what we would have to do is key in from our Excel spreadsheets into that system. The biggest, and this would be a new modular also with BS&A, would be to go with their fixed asset module, and it will upload from the Excel files. So it wouldn't be any going through keying in before on changes. That creates even more problems. So that's important for that. Archive on Keystone, and Dustin knows too, is we go back into files to look up things all the time, like a cost of a poll or whatever. We would have access to Archive Keystone for 10 years, read-only, which is what it is when you archive. Fry will have no access to Keystone files, the past files. You build your archive going forward, but they can't take in what's already here. Maintenance, Maintenance is really prorated. They really don't do much maintenance. I don't know exactly what that relates to. State Board of Accounts, of course, BSNA is an upgrade from Keys to what we have, is basically what it is. But it's moving forward to a cloud system. And the State Board of Accounts works with Keystone. Keystone helps the State Board of Accounts and vice versa. And FRI has no partnership with State Board of Accounts, and theirs is reaction only to what State Board of Accounts rules. Webinars and training, well, it's interestingly enough, Marcy and I had a training this morning, and we have 2 tomorrow and 2 Wednesday from Keystone Voice. It's called Keystone Voice. And FRI has none at this time. Updates on software, that's built into the BSNA program. Those just come with a notice, and we can go in and update through their system. FRI, they can charge. They said they might not always charge, but they can charge. Keystone, of course, we're used to Keystone systems, so the BSNA system was very, we could understand it. Plus it uses some AI. And the biggest thing here, and I think I may have talked to some of you about it, is the transfers AI will be done AI, where right now they're done manually. And so when payroll's done, there's manual checks written here and to there. It'll be an automatic, if it's a recurring, it'll just be an automatic transfer. FRI was very complicated in that FRI is almost paying to go backwards a little. EAP, our Energy Assistant Program, they said, well, they could add it, but they don't have it. And Energy Assistance comes to us, and we have to post it before we get it before we get the money. And so it has to be filtered into the system, but not posted. So that's a big complication for us. The help desk, I had a reason to call the help desk last week, and within an hour and a half, I had the whole problem taken care of. There are 15 people there, and they're different people for different things. Mine was investment. My investment ledger wasn't working. My investment, and so I talked to a person that knew exactly what to do with that. FRI, there will be a person assigned to us, one person. And then if that one person needs help, they can go to one of 5 other people. So that's, we have to question how long that would take. Now, I can't say that Keystone's always within, I mean, it's always the same day, but I can't say it's always within an hour and a half, but you know it's going to happen that day. The major thing that is not on yours is the customer histories in our Keystone utilities will not transfer. That means we would have to go up and dig out all the books. If you want to know what your bill was in 2021, we'll have to go find that book. And that would be very hectic. And the financial information won't transfer, so we won't have any financial history. I can go in now with Keystone BSNA and look up the annual reports and all that. But with the BSNA, it's an automatic upload. It'll just automatically go into the system. So I and Marcy are recommending, and by the way, if you would decide to do this tonight, this is pushed now up until August because they're so far behind. When we started talking, they had said June or July, and now it's August before BSNA. FRI says they can start in 30 days, if that tells you how the state's going. So I and Marcy both recommend that we go with BSNA. Tried system, it's a move up with, it's moving into the cloud-based, which is new and up to date. There's not going to be a lot of auxiliary. I forgot to tell you the annual cost for FRI was $16,477, but that's without the fixed asset module. And BSNA is $23,000. Currently we pay about $16,500. So the fixed asset module adds to that, and that would be a new module.
Good question. Are these the only two that do this?
The only two for small town. There is a Tucker, but they're for cities. So these are the two major,
These are the
yes,
only two.
yeah. Tucker doesn't sound right, because Bluffton went with the other one, but it's more for a city with a lot of departments and whatever.
But at least they are compatible with State Board of Accounts. They're
Very
familiar with it,
much
and
so,
that
very much so.
dovetails easier with your reporting to State Board of Accounts.
Yes, yes. So,
Need a
I
motion?
would like to, yeah,
I'll make a motion for BSNA.
I will second.
let me get here,
I don't know what to say
BSNA,
with it, but
Michelle and Steve. Ron,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Michelle,
yes.
and Steve.
Yes.
I thank you for that because Marcy and I,
Get on the list, huh?
well, I'm hoping it's
Get in
still
line.
August. I'm hoping it's still August, which is okay, but that's a bad time in going into the end of the year, but we'll get it done. I have oh, is there any other unfinished?
No.
I just take one of these and pass it. If you recall, 4 or 5 months ago, you approved a contract to the end of 2025 with the electric engineers, and that was for $5,000 out of the $10,000 contract. Here is the contract for 2026. It's the same contract, same amount, $10,000, and what it gives is it's the very same contract is what I'm trying to say. And this gives Dustin, and as Brock is going to go for apprenticeship, it gives him some contacts to make and helps us with understanding some of what Heritage Point is asking. So it's a pay-as-you-go, it's not upfront, $10,000. And there are some auxiliary costs, but it's the same thing like an attorney. You have to pay for travel and you have to pay for copies and phone calls and stuff. I would recommend that we go forward with a contract.
What is Heritage Point asking?
Pardon me?
What is Heritage Point asking? Like
Oh,
you said-
some information on going forward with meters and metering information, basically.
Upgrading transformer.
Upgrading transformers and,
They
it's
just want to, they want to upgrade their transformer?
Yeah, but they don't,
Yeah.
we have not received
yeah,
reasoning as to why, so that
Oh.
type of,
yeah,
No reasoning for
yeah.
that?
it would just be something we would consult the engineer.
Yeah, consulting. So, I think Dustin and I both recommend that this be done.
You need that in the form of a motion.
Yes, please.
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Steve's moved, Ron seconded. Ron,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and Steve.
Yes.
Okay, now then, the claims register, you actually have two, because as you recall at the last meeting, I forgot to run it. So you have October and November in the amount of $1,229,508. However, 1 million of that was the purchase of a new CD. So take $1 million off of that, and the actual register is 229,508. And I think I have it marked on your copy where the CD purchase was.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's I don't think I marked anything. Other than that, unless you have questions, it's just the regular maintenance and payrolls.
Is the CD, is that the one where we did with the state, where they invested dollars?
And no, I didn't go with the state. I went back with BIPAS because the state can change the rates all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just went with
This was a better rate.
Yes. Oh,
This
yes,
was-
much
is
better.
like a fix.
Yes, and it's fixed. Yeah.
What is the rate on it?
I don't know right offhand. I can get that. I think it's 3.8%, I believe. I'll check that. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, oh, I guess I didn't put that out there. And then November, December, is $695,014, and that has two payments to Wolverine, and a debt and a purchase of repurchase of debt service reserve. This is in sewer, and debt service reserve is the amount we have to hold because we have a bond, and it's reached its limit. So, and we can't spend it for anything else, so it's in a CD for $148,363. That's on the last page. Also, one of the bigger line items is the $48,066. That's a payroll for the retirement checks that went out. So those are the off. I don't want to say off kilter, but the other than the usual bills. Okay, is there a motion for those? You
I
have
will
any
make a
questions?
motion to approve.
Is that for both of them?
Yes.
I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Ron?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
Did we get one to sign? Did we get
Pardon me?
Did we get a second one to
Oh,
sign?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I'll give
I
it.
think
I'll
I
share it
went
with you.
October, November's there.
Next is the payroll allocation report. And the regular payroll for November was $35,072.34 with overtime of $671.98. And that says it was dated this 15th day of November. That's not right. But anyway, nothing as usual. I mean, it's all the same. And the overtime was up a little because of snow. So those are the November payroll. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Ron?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
As I said earlier, we have Keystone training now. We had it this morning. We have it morning and afternoon for tomorrow and Wednesday. That's about it from the office. And the next council meeting is scheduled for January 12th. Scott, is that going to be do we need to talk about the time?
It's 5 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine for me.
Okay, so January 12th at 5 o'clock. And Michelle has some information on the park.
The park? Remember?
Well, on what you, with DNR.
I called Greg, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Biofis at the Indiana State DNR office, and he's in charge of the park planning, and he gave me some information, and when I say information, it was like an hour's worth of information, plus like 4 emails with so many attachments that there wasn't even enough space to forward them, or there wasn't even enough memory to forward them on. But Marilyn's going to get all of that ready, but essentially he gave me information on setting up the legal park board, gave us the actual ordinance that we can look at. He gave us all the information on the park plan. He suggested that as a town, we go through and do the small town form that they actually offer through the state. Mainly because that helps us make sure we're keeping an eye on all those individual pieces rather than letting a consultant just put something in there that we're not aware of. And it's also a shortened version compared to what towns and cities over a certain population I don't remember what the number was. I feel like it was 2,500 or something.
I can't.
Or
I
bigger.
saw it, but I
It was
don't-
around that. But just recommended we go that route, and that we let the park board step in to working on completing that plan and taking pieces of that. And then he also said ADA compliance is a big piece of that, and making sure that part of that park plan includes the ADA compliance information, and he gave that, and then just some general information on the grant process and whatnot.
I thought it was interesting, just scanning through it, was the park board, did you see that it's one person, I mean, they're staggered over the course of there's 4 people and they're staggered. I thought, it was interesting that every year somebody would be up, but.
Marilyn's gonna get all that information in packets
Yeah,
to you guys,
get it in
and then
packets.
hopefully we can kind of start that discussion, so that, one of the biggest takeaways from that conversation that I had with him was that he said, like, for small towns, a park is really important because, it's like a storefront for business, and that storefront, really says a lot on whether you wanna go in there and give that place business. And it's kind of the same way for small towns. A park is kind of like one of our storefronts, and when we want to draw people into our town, we want to make sure our parks are appealing and attractive. So it was just interesting conversation.
And the end was that he said it would take a year of planning and the grant would be 27.
Yeah.
So-
The one grant through the DNR is the land and water something, and they didn't even give funds out for it this year, and he couldn't say what the plan is for 26, but the deadline for 26 happened in November, and then they approve it in 26th of April. They approve it, and then you can apply for the grant. But we missed that, so our goal will be to have our park plan ready by November of 26 to then be available for 27 for funds.
It's pages. I'll make. I told her, I said I'll get it copied and into a book or small, so we can follow it along. And Dustin said he would be glad to work with the park board. You said that, right, Dustin?
Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah. So, and he also said that it's in a small town, it's just go with your park board, don't bring in, since we tried 3A and that didn't work, but
I
said
asked
to
him if
keep it
that
local.
would impact our, chances of getting grant money because we're doing it ourselves, and he said absolutely not, and that is it.
It may be good to keep it local.
And he offered to give us the
In the
guidance, and they will look at our plan and give us feedback and help us get that set up. So even if we can't apply through the DNR, if there's other grant opportunities, we will have that ready and can put it out there. So that's the hope with that. And then I also have some notes from the WARM meeting from last week. Joe Thalmer with AIM came and shared a little bit about the state bill that the Senate Enrolled Act 1 that Greg's been talking about. And he just really stressed the fact that we make it clear that not make it clear that we are prepared and ready for the changes that are coming in 2028, and that it's going to be up to this, it's going to be up to the county as to how we have that money, I guess, delegated to the towns, and so just being aware of that is really important. There's some property tax reform happening, but there's also local revenue overhaul happening, and I think what they were trying to do was to provide some property tax relief, but in doing that, it's not going to balance out. And he said that this is one of the first times that the state has gone through and made a change in property taxes without making a fix for the loss of revenue in other ways. And he stressed that we make sure we talk with Greg to know what our impact will be, or our financial advisor as well, knowing what that amount will be, and things like that. So I have more specific, like, detailed notes if you want all of that, but.
And I think we did. I did give you a report on what we would stand to lose, and since we have a low levy, the reminder that we could possibly lose as much as what our tax levy is. That's what we get from certified shares and local. Not local law enforcement, but the lit funds, we would lose as much as what we've taken in. So I think, and we've shared so many times here, that it's now that we start. It's not in 27, it's 26. If you are on the clerk's listserv, you see the concerns and whatever that are happening, and that's making sure you're conservative in your planning until SB2 is what they're calling it. And this gentleman is a representative of the Accelerate Municipalities, the state group, the state municipal group. So.
And I think he's always happy to answer questions,
Yes,
and
yes.
even come talk to us too. The one thing that I do want to say, just so that we kind of keep it on our radar, with all of this going through, he said that we will have to adopt a resolution for the county to consider us for funds by July 1st of 27 for the county distribution. So we all need to keep that in mind.
They're planning.
There's a lot
Yeah, they're
that we
planning.
have to be have
If
in
you go
place
on
ahead of time.
AIM, you'll find some of that on there. And you are a member to pay dues next month. Oh,
That's it. That's all I have.
are we done?
Oh, and just a thank you to Historic Warren for all their work with the festival of trees. I think that was wonderful.
It was fun.
Really
Great.
good.
Like to comment that this is Steve's last meeting after how many years on council? Over 2.
Altogether 9, that's 7 this last time.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Steve, thanks.
It's been real. Sometimes realer than others.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, you make sure you have your checks with you. And then okay, just make sure you have those.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll see you next year. If not before.
I'll be sitting out in the audience.
Oh, just don't say it. Just don't say it. Scott will be right. Oh, Scott, I'll get you a name unless you want to use Steve's name.
You better get him a new one.
Probably be okay with that. That way when people get mad, they can blame Steve.
Yeah, they called me instead of you.
You have to sign your life away to get one of those name things.
Yeah, they take DNA, fingerprints.